Oh, he's a fire.
Oh, the big right hand! Oh, my goodness, yeah! On the ropes! Oh! The Paddy ground has done!
He is a fighter, boy.
In this video, we're going to be breaking down why Paddypimblett is the most underrated striker in the lightweight division and probably the UFC. Now, speaking from a competitor's standpoint, simply put, fighting grapplers suck. It's common to overlook how good of a striker they can be, and in the midst of fighting for dominant positions, fighting against submissions, or just fighting to get back on your feet, it's easy to forget that these guys can punch and kick too. And Mr. Paddy the Baddy is definitely no exception to that philosophy. Now, the most obvious advantages Paddy has over his division is his size and his physicality. In a division where most lightweights only average to be around 5'9", Paddy comes in at a full inch taller at 5'10", and since being in the UFC, he's only fought 2 opponents that have been his height or taller, with the tallest being Tony Ferguson at 6 foot. Now, that was a fight which he won by decision. Now, also in a division where reach only rounds out to be an average of 70 inches, Paddy comes in with a full 3-inch advantage at 73. And these are benefits that Paddy uses and takes full advantage of in the octagon, and it gives him an edge in the striking department. And on January 24th, 2026, he will be headlining against his toughest challenge to date, none other than Justin the Highlight Gaethje, who's also an inch taller, but the 3-inch reach advantage does go to Paddy. Now, this fight has all the makings of a barn burner, and Gaethje carries a lot of power and chaos in his punches and his low kicks, and at first glance, the striking in this fight looks to be heavily in Gaethje's favor. But in my opinion, Paddy is much closer to Justin's striking than Justin is to Paddy's grappling. And that's why Paddy can pull off one of his best performances, already being the betting favorite at minus 230. So let's check it out. See, Paddy's striking is easily overlooked simply because it's viewed through the wrong lenses. See, most fans evaluate striking based on clean, textbook boxing, traditional posture, and defensive fundamentals, such as utilizing the high guard and tight movements. Paddy doesn't strike like a textbook striker, so people assume he's bad, but in reality, his striking is unorthodox, it's rhythm-based, and it's designed to create chaos, not win beauty contests. And this makes it hard to read and easy to underestimate. So, Paddy has this thing that I like to call weaponized awkwardness. Pimblett's biggest strength is timing over technique. He's very good at catching opponents mid-step, throwing strikes during transitions, and interrupting combinations with single, sharp shots. He shows examples of this by intercepting jabs with counters, throwing kicks when opponents are resetting, and sneaking punches and clinch breaks. See, he's not trying to outbox people, he's trying to disrupt them. His striking is perfectly built to set up his grappling. Paddy's striking isn't standalone, it's integrated. He uses his strikes to force high guards, which results in level changes, create scrambles, which opens up the door for submission entries, and he makes his opponents overcommit, which then he takes their backs. But because fans separate striking and grappling, they miss this. His striking is successful because it feeds directly into his elite submission game. And that's smart MMA striking, people, not sloppy striking. People say Paddy has bad defense, but he consistently hurts opponents, even though he has bad defense. Despite the criticism of his chin and guard, he routinely lands the more damaging shots. He drops or visibly stuns his opponents, and he wins exchanges when the fights get messy, which is the reason why he uses his striking to create chaos, and he doesn't use it to look good. See, fighters with bad striking, they don't keep hurting people at the UFC level. You can't fake damage. If his striking was truly poor, he'd be getting walked down and finished early, which hasn't happened yet. And look, I'll go ahead and say it for a third time. He thrives in chaos, where a lot of strikers will fail. See, when fights become scrappy, high-paced, and emotionally charged, kind of like they're going off script, this is where a lot of these technical strikers, they'll fall apart. And Paddy will get better. And why is that? It's because he's comfortable being uncomfortable. He fights on instinct, and he doesn't panic under pressure. And these are rare striking traits that won't show up on stat sheets. There's a lot of times when great strikers, or just great fighters in general, they'll use their overconfidence to self-start their engines. It's almost like they're trying to psych themselves into getting ready for a fight that they may not be emotionally ready for. See, Paddy doesn't need to do this. His confidence naturally amplifies his effectiveness. See, his swagger isn't just for show. It causes opponents to rush exchanges, swing wider, and basically abandon the game plan. And this is definitely something that he can use to his advantage versus Justin Gaethje. Because we saw what happened the last time Max Holloway was able to get Justin Gaethje to abandon the game plan and get into a swinging match. And it really ended bad for him. And that's something that I think Paddy could might not be able to match, but he will be able to use that and play into it and use it to his advantage. See, this will create striking openings that he capitalizes on. Confidence is a striking weapon, and Paddy uses it just as well as anybody in the division. There's a lot of people that say Paddy will get exposed soon. And look, I'm not saying that they're wrong and that he won't, but that narrative is almost always rooted in clouded judgment. Many fans expect Pimblett to fail, so every exchange is viewed through bias. When he gets hit, they say, see, he's a bad striker. But when he lands, they say, look, he's lucky or he's being reckless. But objectively, he lands consistently, he controls the tempo, and he dictates where the fights go. That's effective striking, even if it's unconventional. Say what you want about Paddy, but his striking is underrated. His style is unconventional. His goals aren't purely stand-up dominance. His striking is designed for MMA, not kickboxing, not boxing, or any other foundational striking style. He thrives in chaos where others struggle. He may not ever be the cleanest striker, but he's far more effective than what he's given credit for. Now let's take a look at a few fights. So Paddy ended up getting a knockout win in his UFC debut versus Luigi Vendramini, but Paddy got rocked early. He recovered and unleashed a fight-ending right hook that stopped the Vendramini in the first round, but he showed composure under fire. He got hit hard, but he quickly adjusted, and the knockout came from a clean, technical punch, not a fluke. See, he demonstrated power and timing that few give him credit for, especially for a fan-friendly fighter. So it wasn't just flashy, but he was timely, and he showed deadly finishing power. Now, in his fight versus Jared Gordon, it ended in a controversial decision. 23 out of 24 media scores saw Gordon winning this fight, and Gordon outlanded Pimblett early and was more clean on shots, especially in round one. But Pimblett used low kicks and volume to mix levels, forcing Gordon to respect his striking range later on in the fight. So even though this was a debated loss on the scorecards, Pimblett showed a lot of adaptability, switching targets and using kicks effectively, showing that he's not a one-trick brawler. Now, one of my favorite performances from Paddypimblett was his decision win against Tony Ferguson at UFC 296. See, Ferguson is a unique, unconventional striker just like Pimblett with awkward angles. See, Paddy weathered the weirdness and landed at a steady volume while avoiding the big moments from Ferguson. Now, many dismissed Pimblett's striking pre-fight as easy to neutralize, but against one of the toughest, most unorthodox vets, he landed consistently while staying safe enough to win rounds. And now for his most dominant performance to date was his TKO victory versus Michael Chandler at UFC 314. See, Pimblett dominated the striking exchanges against a well-rounded veteran in Michael Chandler, landing far more strikes and visibly hurting him. Eventually, he transitioned to the ground and pound and finished him by TKO. See, Chandler is known for his heavy hands and his pressure, yet Pimblett outstruck him significantly. His combinations and his timing broke Chandler's rhythm, using not just brute volume, but purposeful striking. See, many wrote off Pimblett's striking as chaotic, but in this fight, it was precise and effective against elite competition, and honestly, despite me believing that Paddypimblett is the most underrated striker in the UFC, in regards to this fight versus Justin Gaethje, it's not about him being a better striker, because simply, he just isn't. It's about him creating the wrong fight for Justin Gaethje, and it all starts with him disrupting Gaethje's rhythm. See, Gaethje is elite when he can build pressure, when opponents are fighting at his tempo, and when the exchanges become predictable. But Paddy's striking is most effective when the rhythm is broken, when opponents hesitate, and when the fights look ugly. So a good way for Paddy to implement this strategy is by switching stances frequently, throwing offbeat jabs and looping entries, mixing kicks to the body and not the legs, and punch while retreating, because Gaethje likes to enter linearly. See, Gaethje struggles with more awkward timing than clean technique. Max Holloway and Tony Ferguson both found success by not giving Gaethje set exchanges. See, Gaethje often steps straight in behind combinations. Paddy has shown decent check hooks, willingness to throw while backing up, and comfortability fight moving backwards. Some of the key strikes he can use in this fight is the right hook as Gaethje steps in, the lead uppercut on level changes, and front kicks to disrupt forward movement. If Paddy can land clean while retreating, he forces Gaethje to reset, something that Gaethje does not like to do. Forcing scrambles in the clinch will be vital for Paddypimblett in this fight because Gaethje needs to know that there will be grappling threats at all times. And this is where the fight actually swings. Paddy doesn't need takedowns off of shots. He needs chaotic clinches. And this is important because Gaethje's wrestling defense is good, but it's not perfect. And Paddy is excellent in these scrambles. Now, being a striker first, Gaethje's first instinct will always be to disengage so that he can strike, but this will give Pimblett some openings. Now, the best hypothetical scenario for Paddy will be to strike, force a clinch, then force a trip attempt, which Gaethje would have to defend. Now, this would lead to a scramble. Paddy can jump his back or cause some kind of submission openings. But honestly, once on the ground, Paddy's submission game is elite, and Gaethje has been finished on the ground before. Now, this will be the clearest win condition for Paddypimblett. But there's another factor that comes into play, and that's cardio over time, which is an underrated factor. See, Gaethje hits harder, but Paddy hits longer. So if the fight gets messy, includes clinches, involves scrambles, then Gaethje's output could drop. And if Paddy thrives in extended chaos, y'all have to let me know how y'all feel about that one in the comments. See y'all on the next one.